Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man walah, amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. يقول المؤلف رحمه الله: وعن أبي عبد الله خباب بن الأرت رضي الله عنه قال: شكونا إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهو متوسد بردة له في ظل الكعبة، فقلنا: ألا تستنصر لنا ألا تدعو لنا. Khabbaab bin Al-Aratt radiyallahu anhu, one of the first of the Sahaba to accept Islam. Some narrators mention that he was the sixth person to accept Islam, or at least the sixth male to accept Islam, radiyallahu anhu. And what we know of the first of the Sahaba to accept Islam was that they faced the most persecution. They were tortured the most, because they were amongst the early Muslims when they were few in number, and while the Quraysh were strongest and were at the angriest, and they really faced difficulty. We know the stories of Bilal radiallahu anhu, and Khabbaab radiallahu anhu was of these Sahaba. He faced severe punishment and torture. Some narrations mention that an iron rod was put into his head or upon his head to punish him. Some narrations mention that he was dragged over hot coals until his back, it bled, and his blood and the fat that fell out of his back, it put out the coals. Later on, in the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu saw his back and he said, I've never seen a back like this. But this is what he faced, and his deen was tested. Radiallahu anhu. He said, I came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's the narrator of this hadith, whilst he was sitting in the shade of the Kaaba, next to the Kaaba, seeking some shade. And he had his cloak with him. Some narrations mention the cloak was laid out for him. And he said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, أَلَا تَسْتَنصِرُ لَنَا أَلَا تَدْعُ لَنَا. Will you not pray to Allah for us? Ask Allah for victory for us. This is after this severe punishment, suffering upon suffering. Ya Rasulullah, make dua for us for victory. What did the Prophet ﷺ say? He said to him, قَدْ كَانَ مَنْ قَبْلَكُمْ يُؤْخَذُ الرَّجُلُ فَيُحْفَرُ لَهُ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيُجْعَلُ فِيهَا. Before you, there were people who suffered. And the previous nations, the Muslims of those nations, they too suffered. And what happened to them? There was amongst them men where big trenches and holes were dug for them, and they would be thrown into these holes and killed. Others, يُؤْتَى بِالْمِنْشَارِ فَيُوضَعُ عَلَى رَأْسِهِ فَيَجْعَلُ نِصْفَيْنِ. A massive saw or some type of instrument was used, and these people were sliced into half. They were cut into two. وَيُمْشَطُ بِأَمْشَاطِ الْحَدِيدِ مَا دُونَ لَحْمِهِ وَعَظْمِهِ. Others, iron combs were taken, and they would be combed over their skin until their flesh and their bones would come out. مَا يَصُدُّهُ ذَلِكَ عَنْ دِينِهِ. The Prophet ﷺ said, these people, none of this punishments turned them away from their deen. None of this could turn them away from their deen. They were firm. And then he said, وَاللَّهِ لَيُتِمَّنَّ اللَّهُ هذا الأمر حتى يسير الراكب من صنعاء إلى حضرموت لا يخاف إلا الله والذئب على غنمه ولكنكم تستعجلون. He said, by Allah, Allah will complete this deen of ours. This matter of ours will become completed, meaning as much as the Quraysh are torturing us and punishing us, it's not going to work. They are trying to destroy Islam. Allah is going to make sure this deen is completed, and it will be victorious. Until a time will come when a rider will ride from Sana'a, which is in Yemen, to Hadramaut, also in Yemen. لا يخاف إلا الله, meaning there's no fear for him. It's safe. Islam has prospered, it's conquered. He will ride and there will be no worries. The only one he will fear will be Allah. No other fear of people and punishment and persecution. وَالذِّئْبُ عَلَى غَنَمِهِ. The other fear he will have is the wolf might come and hunt and eat from his flock. But he won't have the fear of enemies, because Allah will make this deen victorious. This was his response to Khabbaab, when Khabbaab said, Ya Rasulullah, make dua for victory for us. People before you were punished worse. This deen will be victorious. Allah is going to make it such. وَلَكِنَّكُمْ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. Then he said to him, you people are hasty. You people want victory now. You don't be hasty. Have sabr. Persevere with what Allah is testing you with. The victory will come. The victory will come. This hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. So what do we learn from this hadith? We learn about the importance of sabr once again. Upon punishment that we may face in this deen. We may have to face certain punishments, certain difficulties, hardships of being a Muslim. We live in a Western society. The punishments are not like the Sahaba faced. It's not like what the people before us faced. But there will be certain difficulties and challenges. Hold on to your deen. You may have to sacrifice. Have patience in a different way. Maybe in your line of work, there are certain elements of haram. You have to avoid it. You have to have patience. It may cut out some of your rizq. You have to avoid it for the sake of Allah. And you will face all types of challenges. This is where you have to be patient upon your deen. None of these challenges should take you away from your deen. This is the lesson Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is telling us and teaching us. And do not be hasty. Don't think victory comes in one moment of difficulty, the next must be victory. No, sometimes Allah delays and He delays and He delays. And He tests us. He tests our faith. The more we test it and we have resolve, the more our reward will be greater. To end off, what does Allah Azza wa Jalla say in the Quran? أَمْ حَسِبْتُمْ أَن تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ وَلَمَّا يَأْتِكُمْ مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ خَلَوْا مِن قَبْلِكُمْ. Do you think you'll be admitted into paradise without being tested like those before you? مَسَّتْهُمُ الْبَأْسَاءُ وَالضَّرَّاءُ. They were afflicted with suffering and adversity. وَزُلْزِلُوا. And they were shaken. So much they were shaken. حَتَّى يَقُولَ الرَّسُولُ. The messenger amongst them would say, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مَعَهُ. And those believers with him would say, مَتَى نَصْرُ اللَّهِ. When is the help of Allah coming? They were tested so severely. The only thing they could say was, when is the help of Allah coming? أَلَا إِنَّ نَصْرَ اللَّهِ قَرِيبٌ. Indeed, the help of Allah is close. Hold on to your deen and bear patience with any form of test. The help of Allah is near. So our job as believers, be firm. Istiqamah, steadfast. Have sabr upon all your trials and seek Allah's reward. And wait for His victory. Be patient and wait, because that's a promise, it's going to come. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of the people of steadfastness and patience. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.